It is 8:25. 5 degrees going to a high of 6, 19th day of December. And the Canadian pickers are here, Shelden, Smithens, and Scott Cozens. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Morning.
I think of you kind of as, I guess, treasure hunters. Is that what you feel like?
That's sort of what we feel like. We're out there trying to find sort of the pearl amongst the swine, if you want to call it that.
Right, exactly. So the idea is on Canadian Pickers, you just go to all sorts of random places like barns and things like that.
Barns, attics, garages, you
Even
name
the odd
it.
store.
Yeah.
Right, and because sometimes people don't even know what they have.
Nope.
But isn't that become rarer now? Because we had Antiques Roadshow. We've had a lot of shows on the air for a long time.
There are a lot of people out there that either know what they have or think they know what they have, and they're the most dangerous ones.
The ones that think they've got something.
Exactly.
That was my father. Everything he ever got at an auction, he thought, this is the best. And I'd say,
one.
why do we have this transmission kit for a 1928 Rolls Royce? He goes, it was a deal. I couldn't pass it up.
But how do you know when you walk into that barn or that attic, and there is all of that junk there? How do you know?
Sort of the tingle in your spine. We've been doing it long enough that when we see something good, we just jump on it.
Right.
Why is that good, the belt that's in front of you? Because it's really interesting looking, but I wouldn't jump out at me as like...
It's a real interesting historical cross collectible. It's 1920s, 1930s motorcycle kidney belt. So motorcycling is very popular. Take this to a motorcycle swap meet, it'll be the thing in the show that everyone remembers, this belt.
Is that somebody's initial on the end?
That's exactly right. One of the initials is missing, but this was so important. Somebody spent a lot of money on this, put their initials in it, and everywhere they went on their motorcycle, that's what they wore.
All right, and what about this? I'm terrified that this is like some kind of old dental equipment or something.
It's even worse than that.
Is it? Okay, great.
It's worse.
It's actually a trepanning kit. And go ahead.
Oh.
Oh.
It's for brain surgery.
That's
You
right.
bore into someone's brain just to relieve a little stress.
I could use that this morning.
This is what they used to do. They would just screw that into your skull, and it will take a little piece of your skull out.
Let the pressure come off.
That's Dr. Scott's department.
Right.
We bought this in Southern Ontario, as a matter of fact, with 3 generations of veterinary equipment. This is exactly the same one they would have used on humans. It just happened to be a veterinary one.
And how old is that?
That would be 1880s, 1890s.
And it's all there?
All but one little piece is missing there.
Right.
But still, to get one this complete is pretty good.
And where did you find this?
We got that in Ingersoll, Ontario.
Oh, did you? And what would that sell for in an antique store or to the right collector?
$1,000, $1,500 to the right person.
And you got it for?
Well, we bought it as a package of a huge amount of stuff.
Yeah.
But when we bought it, we valued it at sort of $500.
Okay.
So will you do that? Will you buy a whole pack of stuff knowing that 90% of it is useless, but there's that little gem in there?
If there's a gem in there, absolutely.
Okay,
and this is one of my favorite things. Now, it's not particularly valuable, at least monetarily so.
Yeah.
We bought this in Newfoundland, and it's called a look box. And I thought, what is that?
Yeah.
And the gentleman we bought it from was an expert in Newfoundland. He called it vernacular furniture or things that they made up using scraps of wood and that sort of thing. But this, you'd actually put it into the water, and it's sealed at the bottom with glass. It's very much looking into a pond or into a tidal pool and seeing what's going on in there. Your
scuba diving.
Newfoundland snorkeling. I love that too.
You don't have to get wet.
It's so
you don't have
so
to put
simple.
on gear.
So simple and so beautiful. We paid $30 for it. I think I'd value it at $75.
So it almost runs into the folk art realm of things, doesn't it?
Exactly. And this gentleman had the most incredible furniture,
Yeah.
including chests of drawers where the drawers were actually cod boxes.
Right.
So they'd use whatever they had. I love
Now,
it.
what about this stuff? Because you know what? There's a lot of kind of bogus Aboriginal First Nations art on the market. So how do you know that you may have something valuable?
Well, this one's signed by one of the best carvers, Jean Berbrand, a Cree who actually worked out of the West Coast, and he's a well-known carver. But that is, in fact, you could arguably call it a reproduction, because it is a reproduction of an 1820s mask that is in a museum.
Right.
It's
I was going to say it looks pristine, this.
Yes, it's a Haida mask. It's of the wealthy woman. And but he's a very well-respected carver, and the person we bought it from was very knowledgeable, getting rid of his collection, and we just happened to be the right guys at the right time.
But you have to do your homework.
Right. And that's not representing itself as anything other than a modern carving. It's signed on the back, tells you exactly what it is, but it's still a fabulous piece of Inuit art, or not Inuit art, native art.
So do you guys study it all? Because again, like when it comes down to pieces of artwork or things like that, like how do you know?
Well, we both have lots of books in our library, and we've both been in the business for 30, 35 years from different angles. So you see a lot of fakes. As Sheldon says, once you've seen a fake or 100 of them, you know.
I'm an auctioneer, so things pass through my hands. I'm the beneficiary of all that research.
Is there a holy grail out there for guys like you?
For me, there's always a holy grail. I'm big into advertising, pre-1940 advertising, beautiful old tin litho stuff. So I've always been looking for the self-framed tin Hires boy holding the mug of root beer. That's my holy grail.
My holy grail is I want to find that piece of Canadian history that went unnoticed or undiscovered, be it something from the Riel Rebellion or Wolfe and Montcalm. I'm always looking for that piece of history that I can uncover.
Mm-hmm. And the gloves? Tell us about those.
Well, those are mine that I wear.
Really?
Yeah, they're native gauntlets. We bought these out of Cranbrook, British Columbia. Beautiful set of 1930s
now, how could you not wear those? They look like they
fit me like a glove.
Quite literally fit you like a glove.
Plus, the value's in that beadwork, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People always say to me, "Why are you wearing those? You should be having them under glass." And I think if they fit, wear them.
And Scott loves to remain incognito and not draw attention to himself.
I like the subtle approach.
Low key. Where are you guys off to next as far as your searches for treasure?
We're starting to film season 3. We're going out to the West Coast because that's the only place you can be in the middle of February in Canada. But that's where we're going next.
Fantastic. Well, Canadian Pickers airs at 10 p.m. on Monday on the History Channel. There you're getting a little look-see at the guys in action. It must just be a blast, you guys.
It is.
We have the best gig in Canada if you love collectibles and antiques.
No kidding.
Because you always meet interesting people, right?
You got it.
Check them out. Shelden Smithens and Scott Cozens, better known as the Canadian Pickers. Thanks for bringing in some of your treasures, guys.
Thank you.
Great. 8:33 now. We're taking